Well, Neil, when we spoke after last Saturday's local derby defeat to Peterborough, you were obviously very frustrated at what you'd seen, and you questioned the lack of sort of drive and determination of some members of the group or the group as a whole. On reflection, have you had a chance to look at the game and have slightly different views on it? And you probably learnt, I would say, a little bit more about the players than you did prior to the game?
Yeah, I think it's always important that obviously I speak to the owner, regularly and the board, etc. So that they know my thoughts all the time. But I think it's important that I speak openly and honestly and with transparency as much as possible to the fan base as well. And not here to sugarcoat anything. So after the game, in the heat of the battle of the local rivalry, I spoke with, I thought, passion and openness, but also with fact as well. So no, my opinion didn't change when I watched the game back. I wasn't questioning players' attitude or application to the 90 minutes and having a right go for us in a game we clearly should have won. So that might have affected me a little bit. We should have won the game, but it's just the fact we've managed to lose a game that we should have won again, and I think that's what I was getting to, and addressed it with the players as well. With openness and like, honestly. Brilliant group of players, really nice lads, absolutely no problem whatsoever. Application to train, attitude, timekeeping, discipline, attitude to attack sessions that we put on, first class, absolutely first class. But my point is, I want more than that, I want to win.
Yeah, I guess it's important to have that level of kind of understanding with players as a collective and individually as well. Give them a platform to air their views as well, and it's all about that good working relationship, I guess, Neil.
It is, yeah, and giving people the platform to express themselves, and that's why I absolutely pivotal when came in at the start of the week was to say to people, morning, have a nice weekend, blah blah, and address the group in that manner. So they say like speak honestly and openly, but we are human beings. And that I do actually enjoy working with the lads as well. So it's not being too cutting with the group, it's just being absolutely transparency and honesty with the fan base, and talking about areas that a mentality and a culture shift that we need to make going into next season. And that was the biggest thing. That was my biggest point, was changing the culture of a football club that's had a winning mentality for a period, and then seems to have lost it over the last few seasons, and just escaped just in time a couple of times, and when you do that you get caught short, and this year's going to heading towards that way, but I don't want that. I'm not here for that. I'm here to rebuild that culture and drive it forward and really look forward to it. And honestly, watching the game back, actually the players were brilliant. Some of our football was excellent, limited Peterborough to next to nothing other than a couple of counter-attacks. And we find ourselves 1-0 down when we should be 3 or 4 up already. And that's the frustration. And again, to the die-hard nutters that went to Wigan and to Blackpool as well, and saw 2 really good performances and 2 games where we definitely shouldn't have lost the games, found a way to lose those games as well. And that's what we need to change. That's what we've got to find a way of eradicating, and making sure we come out on the right side of those results. And that's what we're striving for.
Yeah, I guess it's a difficult situation in some respects, because obviously Survival was looking at a long shot now. There's 9 games left, and you'll be in your own mind and with the coaching staff working through an assessment of the players. Are they the kind of players that you want for next season? Are they right in terms of the levels of quality? But I guess you can't allow that to be too much of a distraction between now and that final game against Birmingham.
No, we want to win games of football. We won our first 2 games, 2 clean sheets, scored 4 goals, all looked rosy. Yes, the areas to improve in the game. We've now lost 4 games back to back, all by a goal. Stevenage, I thought, probably just about deserved to beat us. Nathan Bishop kept us in the game and played really, really, really well in the game. But the other 3 games we haven't deserved to lose. And they're the margins that we need to get on the right end of. But until we start getting draws or wins from those games, I can't judge the players properly other than what I'm seeing at the moment, which is some really good performances individually and collectively, but we're falling short. So it's my job, why I'm here, and Bond's as well, to work out why we're falling short. And then, so yes, judging the players, of course, accordingly as we go, and that's what the excitement for me going into Barnsley. It's an opportunity to judge my players again, for us to try and find a way to win a game of football, to try and put building blocks in place for seasons to come, and that's the challenge of a one-off game. precarious position. Yeah, it was tough when it came in. It's even tougher now. But we have to find a way to win games, and that's not just about staying in the division this year. That's building momentum and confidence going into next season. That's trying to build into a fan base that want to come and watch their team next year, and whether that's because we're winning games at the moment and picking points up, or whether it's because they're excited about change as well. That's what we've got to find. We've got to find that formula at the moment to make sure we build that into next season.
Yeah, talking of formulas, I mean, you're in the situation, as we said a little earlier, nine games left, and you want to go out there, you want to see the players going to fight you want to see them win games of football. Are you at the point yet where, and obviously you're restricted a little bit by injuries and personnel, etc., and who you can select, but are you at the point where you think you could experiment perhaps with personnel or formation to try and get a reaction?
I don't think there's any issue in what we're doing structurally. I think in watching games is we give very little away, and we've been, barring Stevenage, created a lot of chances. So we're absolutely fine structurally. Yes, thought process in the coming weeks to adjust either formation, style of play, to think about giving people an opportunity to showcase themselves. Yeah, of course, the thought process goes through my mind. But then also thinking about, I'm talking about a culture shift. I'm not talking about us playing really poorly, or not talking about individuals not committed or whatever. We're falling short in both boxes. So, we have to find a way of trying to address that. So I have to cross between putting faith in players that have done well in the games, putting faith in players that are going to be here in the future because they're under contract, but then also giving people an opportunity that either haven't had many at the moment or are trying to earn contracts for next year. It's finding the balance of the timing to do that. For me, I want to win on Saturday at Oakwell. That's my thought process. Is I want to win a game of football. I don't like losing games. We've lost 4 in a row in 2 weeks. It hurts. So searching for a formula to a certain degree, yeah. But I think we've also played very well at times. So we're not a million miles off. We have to just make sure we fall the right side of those margins, and also, only give people an opportunity when they deserve it. It's not just about throwing 15 and 16-year-olds in just because they're at the football club. No, they have to showcase that they deserve to play because they're good enough to play. And also, if you put youngsters in that aren't ready, then it doesn't benefit them anyway. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way is senior players will only get an opportunity under me if they deserve it.
And obviously, it'll be a busy summer ahead. But one change that has been made this week, Jason, you're leaving the club. I'm assuming that's to allow you some manoeuvrability to get, someone else in or someone that you've worked with previously. How did those discussions come about? And have you already identified someone you'd like to bring in, perhaps, Neil? Yeah,
so Jason, what a lovely lad. What a great bloke. What a really, really nice chap, and I really enjoyed a couple of weeks with him. Obviously, thought process, new head coach comes in, is sometimes someone comes in and just goes, right, all change, I'm bringing 8 staff with me. It wasn't that at all with us, obviously. It came before, and I came on my own and reviewed a situation, and I've done the same again. I've come on my own to review a situation, give people an opportunity to work with me, and then make judgment calls as we go along. Jason's a really, really good man, some real ability in the training ground and on the training pitch, but we just felt, as a football club, we've sort of board as well, that we need to change moving forward. We need to change the culture. We need to change the setup as we go. Some decisions are better to be made for the individual and for us as a football club. So there's a little bit of mutual in that as well, timing wise. But it have to be made at the right time. Jason leaves us, leaves a space in the coaching setup for the future. It's not somebody haven't got somebody lined up to come in today. And we're not going to rush into that. Making that appointment. That'd be based probably towards the summer, if not in the summer period. And in the meantime, we look forward to working with some really hard-working, diligent staff.
And Barry Cora will remain part of the setup, Neil?
Barry's with us, yes. It's important that you have a balance between people that know the football club, know the area, know the group of players, and then sort of the thought process to sort of change, from the outside. Jason's left us at the moment. Everybody else is working diligently, as I said, to improve us and support me and us find our working relationships. But everything is a sort of relationship builder and a work in progress. Everybody, I get judged every day in my job from the players. I get judged every match day from the fan base. So why shouldn't players and staff be the same? I've enjoyed working with everybody so far. and look forward to working with people. At the moment, Jason's the only change.
And looking ahead to Saturday, which is the important next step, obviously, Neil, Barnsley side, as with Wigan a couple of weeks ago, made changes in terms of their managerial setup. So Darryl Clark obviously leaving the club, and they've been disappointed, obviously, especially with their home form. And I think I'm right in saying they've only got 2 points more at home than Cambridge United have so far this season. Their defensive record isn't great. Is there enough in there in terms of your preparation for the game to make you believe that you can go up there and get a result?
Yeah, definitely, 1,000,000%. Our last 3 away games, we've played really well. Crawley deserved to win, comfortably won. Wigan shouldn't have got beat. Blackpool definitely should have won the game. So I look at them and go, we played really well on the road, played with real confidence and some belief, scored some goals. No game's a free hit. We come off the back of a disappointing run, and there's been some strong, honest conversations. So let's go with some freedom. Let's go and attack the game. Every game's now a one-off game. It's a one-off game. Let's go and enjoy it. Let's just make sure we're better in both boxes than the opponent, because that is all that's missing for us at the moment. So yeah, we look forward to it. No, Barnsley's home record's not been great. I was surprised Clarkey left the football club, I've got to be honest. Surprised by the timing of it, but that probably shows modern day football, doesn't it? And ownership models and how they believe things should be done. Clarkey's a bloody good football man and been successful in his career, so I wish him well. So they've made a change, so what comes we'll have to see. They had a game last week and didn't change a great deal, but that could change with a week's work for Connor on the training pitch. So again, we don't know what the opponent's going to do. You have to focus on yourself. So I have to think about what adjustments we make to the way we play and the way we're set up, and how we're going to affect the opponent, and that's been our full focus this week.
In terms of the team news, I'm assuming no fresh injury concerns off the back of the derby, and secondly, I think I know the answer to this, but none of the longer term injured that you expect back for this weekend?
Yeah, no one's certainly coming back into the group. The only one off the back of the weekend is Soleil, unfortunately, has been off rough. So I think he'll make the travelling party, but just how much further along he is, I don't know. We'll have to see in the next 24 hours. We had a bounce game here, played a behind closed doors friendly on Tuesday, which was a really good exercise for a lot of the players that haven't been playing. Got minutes in that, so Jack Stevens played 90 minutes. Gibril, Manny, Dan Barton, Brendan Joku all played 75 minutes. Dan Lundaloo, Ben Stevenson played an hour. So SK was going to play in that, but didn't play because he wasn't well. So real good minutes. George Hoddle played, so really good opportunity for people to play a lot of minutes. George Hoddle played 90 minutes. So just trying to give people a games programme, so when they get an opportunity to step into the first team, then they're ready at match speed, because there's not been enough of that.
I think one player that we didn't pick up on last week when we talked through team news, and you gave a thorough sort of review of who he's where, but Mamadou Jobe, is he likely won't be playing for the rest of the season now?
No, not going to be. He's been around the group and will continue to be so over the coming weeks, but he's not going to play this season. It's just time scales of injury and just length of injury and whatever. He's just, he's not going to be pushed this season. He's not going to be ready anyway. So nothing's changed. We're still looking at Danny Andrew and Corey Smith as probably the two most realistic, quicker ones. Shane Lavery back in the training group, similar sort of time to them, maybe slightly quicker than Corey, but again, been out such a long time that we've got to be really careful of him. So those decisions have been made again, probably, certainly in the second week of April onwards.
Thanks, Neil. Good luck for Saturday.
Pleasure, Doug. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about Dan Barton. You mentioned he got 90 minutes out there. He obviously had a bright start to the season, sort of burst under the scene in some ways, then got that injury and has struggled really to get rhythm and minutes since. What have you made of Dan since you come in?
Obviously not spent a lot of time on the pitch. I was in Dan from my time before when he was out on loan, and then training with the first team group and really liked what I saw. He's a ball carrier. He's a skillful player, but very young and not had a lot of minutes out on loan. So at the moment he's applying his trade, learning the game with training with the first team and what limited minutes he can get on the pitch. You know, as a player, the younger players have not really had a games programme and not had many loans, and that's because they've been needed here to fill the bench because there's so many injuries. So it's a vicious circle, and it's really hard on the young players because I'm now trying to judge them when I'm looking at them 12 months ago to where they are today, thinking they've not played a lot of football since I left. So we're trying to speed that up now. So we have to make judgments on these players come the summer. A lot of players out of contract. So that's again why the game was put on Tuesday, so I can actually see players live, see the minutes on the pitch, and when their opportunity does come to step in the first team, they're match fit. Pleasure. Stephen.
Hi Neil.
Hello.
Just on talking about the culture before, it's probably quite a tough question for you to answer, so forgive me, but how do you go about turning a losing culture into a winning one? What are your thoughts on that?
Standards in the training ground is a big one, and that's something that's really important, something that can really affect, and it's not just standards. When I say, like, we're not talking about people turn up late and whatever. Not that, Stephen. Like I said, the really diligent, good boys. Just talking about the mentality of standards for training. Having discipline for training on the pitch. Making sure your standards are good in passing drills. Make sure that you want to be every five-a-side. You want to be on the winning team, and don't just accept losing. When you're doing attack versus defence, or you're doing 1v1s, 2v2s, don't let people score past you. If that happens too often, you're in the losing team too often, then that paints a picture for me. So when I talk about, I judge people all the time. Little things like that, people are judged on. So that's a culture and a mentality in the training ground. Being respectful to people, to staff, to players, to each other, it is important. And then we talk about culture, which breeds a winning mentality, and a winning mentality comes from drive and hunger and desire from within, and also sort of how they see the game as well. And so you put it together that you want a winning culture in training sessions, and it takes you into winning culture in game as well.
And you were talking earlier about a lot of players being out of contract. Obviously, with the league standing, have you been able to accelerate any of those talks this week, or does that come a little bit later? No,
that come later on. That's something that Mark will lead on with the players. Yes, of course, I have a strong opinion, and me and Mark talk hourly, daily, etc. But that's something Mark will lead on, and we'll be making discussions as a football club. But players don't knock on my door at the moment and ask about next season. They know the position we're in, and players have to earn contracts. Players have to earn the right to ask for contracts, etc. And that's something that would just take care of itself towards the end of the season or at the end of the season.
And just on the injury situation as well, I just wondered, it's not specifically your remit, but I wondered what your take was on why there have been so many injuries and how you go about addressing that heading into next season so that you're not in the same position as this.
So the first part of the question I won't talk about. I wasn't here, so I won't address that. Second part is injuries. Can be down to many things. It can be, so let's look at the standard of the training ground pitches has not been acceptable. You can look at sort of age of players and then sort of training loads. So it's not saying you can't sign 34-year-olds. Of course you can. Some really good players who've got so much to offer. But you then have to just adapt their training loads. So their days of training or what they do on the training pitch. If it's a 90-minute session, maybe the older players on certain days only do 60 minutes. And I'm a real believer in individualising training loads, and that's really good practice, at high levels. So it's something we're going to look at moving forward to try and minimise sort of injuries. Sort of recruiting players that don't have injury records, obviously key as well in doing that. And again, not judging anybody that's come in the building, just thinking about the future. Then obviously there's luck involved as well. There's luck involved where players pick up injuries when just get bad luck because they've fallen down the stairs or they've trod on a bit of glass or something. And I only mention them because both have happened in the last couple of years for players. So these things happen, but I'm not going to judge what's gone on before. All we can affect is finding solutions to the future. Now just trying to do the best we can at the end of the season with the group and the position we're in. But next season, making sure we're affecting it through recruitment, through references, through testing, through medicals, and career history of games played.
That's great. And just quickly on the Bounce game, I don't know if you want to say or not, but who did you play and what was the score?
Doesn't matter.
Not commenting. Okay, no worries.
It was a very competitive game, and we were very pleased with the opponent, and it was an excellent exercise. Lads were fantastic, both groups. So yeah, very good.